Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin.
And Marianne behind the camera.
And welcome to Cavalcade of Food. And, whoop, I gotta get down here. Mare, today it's a twofer. Waffles and waffle irons. How about that?
Sounds good.
We've had a lot of requests over the years for waffle irons. And I have a few represented samples from the Cavalcade collection here, and we're going to look at them. But I thought, look, if we're going to do waffle irons, we might as well make some waffles, right?
Right.
And I was perusing some old recipes, and I found one for something called velvet waffles. Just sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And so it was from 1941. So we're talking, what, 82 years? So anyways, we're going to make it and see how they come out. So anyways, let's get started with getting our waffles put together, okay? Take a look here, honey. So what I've got is I've got 2 cups of flour right here. I'm going to put this there. I got a teaspoon of salt, and I've got 4 teaspoons of baking powder, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to sift all this together like this, like so, into a bowl. And there we go, okay? So we've got our dry ingredients right there. All right, now what I've got to do is I've got 3 eggs. I've separated the yolks from the whites, Mare. And I want to take these egg yolks here, and I want to just beat them, whisk them, until they're light and kind of creamy looking, okay? Boy, we love waffles, don't we?
Yep. We
love waffles and pancakes, and we, well, sometimes have them for dinner, like we're doing tonight. And it's okay in our book. So, you see those egg yolks, Mary?
Yeah.
All right. So, let me get Pierre here and put the whisk down. So, in a mixing bowl, I'm going to put in my, where's my spatula? I'm putting in my 3 beaten till light egg yolks. You want to get all of that. So, you know, waffles were kind of a fancy thing, Marianne, at one time. They're not, you know, you got to have a waffle iron of some sort. And before there were electric waffle irons, there were waffle irons that you'd put on the stovetop. So we've got our 3 egg whites, or 3 egg yolks. Thank you, Marianne. And we are going to add the milk, 1 3/4 cup of milk to that. And let me just mix that together. So now we've got our milk and our egg yolks. And then, I am going to add a 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. And we will add that in. And I will mix that around and get that all stirred. Now, you saw me do the egg yolks, right?
Right.
There's also egg whites. And those are in another bowl, and I got to whip them. Whip them good, okay? Actually, we need to beat those egg whites until they're stiff. And so I'm going to go do that now, Mare, and we'll come back in a minute and get all of our ingredients put together. We're making velvet waffles for our vintage waffle irons. So Okay, honey, I beat those egg whites stiff. All right.
Okay.
So here they are. I did that. I used one of my Sunbeam hand mixers to do the job of the egg whipping for the whites, and you could certainly do it by hand if you wanted to, but this made quick work of it. Okay, we have our sifted dry ingredients. I'm going to give this one more good stir. We are going to add our wet ingredients, which is beaten egg yolks, milk, and vegetable oil. We are going to add this to our dry ingredients, which were the flour, salt, baking powder, and I'm going to stir this up. The recipe for these waffles will be below in the description, should you want to make them. And if we like this recipe, Mare, this will be another one to keep. There's one that a lot of people really swear by, especially in the vintage appliance world, Mare, and that's the one that is in the Sunbeam Mixmaster Owner's Manual recipe book for waffles, and it's a good one, and I've made it many times. Okay, so here is our batter. The only thing that we still have to put in are the egg whites, and these we're going to fold in, okay? So let's get these egg whites here into the bowl, and the spatula is your best tool for this job. Okay. And we are going to fold, and when we fold, Mare, we turn, we go under and over and turn, under and over and turn. But you know what these egg whites are going to do, Mare? What do you think?
Make them fluffy.
Yes. Help them be light, help them be fluffy, help them with, we like, the waffle should be crisp on the outside, but tender on the inside, right?
Right.
And so the egg whites will aid in getting a waffle with that kind of a texture. I'm going to fold that in until the whites seem pretty much incorporated. A couple more turns. You don't want to overfold because then you'll just deflate those egg whites. Wow, there. Honey, I think, by Jove, I think we've got it. All right, get that out of the way. And this. Always keep your work area clean as possible when you're working. A cluttered kitchen, a cluttered house for that matter, is a cluttered mind. That's what I always say. All right, so, Mare, what we've done is we've got one of our vintage waffle makers. This is a Sunbeam, and we have had this baby heating up as we have been preparing our batter. Now, these older waffle irons have a metal grid here for the waffles, and it is not non-stick. They do get seasoned over time. You can see this one is sort of on the dark side. I do wash it after every use, but what I like to do is a little insurance, Mare. I just like to put a little non-stick spray top and bottom, okay? Now what I'm going to do is we're going to take a spoon here and we're going to put our waffle batter in here. You always kind of got to judge it a little bit because you don't want it to, you know what happens if you put in too much batter, right, Mare?
When you put the lid down, the batter goes out the edges.
That's right. You got what we call batter overflow. Nobody wants that. Down we go. Now, oh, you hear that sizzle?
Yeah.
This one, I don't know if you can get down with the camera here, Mare, but here we have a indicator that lights up. It's lit now. It goes from off to 5, and I've got it at 4.5. And that's so that you can kind of adjust the heat to how hot you want it. Now, I'm going to tell you that, sure, it's a waffle iron, but as we'll see, these are much more than that because it's also a griddle or grill, which is another reason why it has a variable temperature so that you can do things on there like grilled sandwiches and eggs and bacon and stuff like that. I'm going to just get a plate ready because I want to be able to take that waffle off when it's done. You see it steaming away there? General rule of thumb for me is when the steam starts to decrease, that's when I have a feeling that it's probably ready to come off, but we'll check it in a minute. In the meantime, Mare, let's just step down here and start looking at some of these vintage waffle irons. You see these three here? And you notice they kind of are similar looking. These are all General Electric waffle grills. I'm going to move one of them over here for a better view. And we're going to open it up. And here is this one's kind of rectangular shaped, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's got, all of these have this sort of pivoting hinge on the back. And the handle, actually, if flipped this way, will act as a leg to support. And what this is, Mare, is we have a waffle iron. You can take this off, and you can put this on. And now you have a grill. You see that?
Yeah.
Well, at some point, having these extra plates was kind of a pain, and you had to keep track of them and store them. So the manufacturers started doing what they called a reversible griddle, where it was waffled on one side and flat on the other. I'm going to check our waffle over here, Mare. It might be. The steam is sort of dissipated. Oh, that's nice, but we want it a little more crisp, don't we?
Right.
Okay, let's let it roll. So they made this model for a number of years, and these are different iterations. You know who would understand the distinctions between these? Our buddy Hans. And here's a later version where it had a Teflon griddle. Here's an earlier one, like this one with a metal griddle. But this was the General Electric. And again, see this little jewel here, Mare? I don't know, it's like a little glass window. And what that does is right there, what that is when this is turned on and plugged in and the elements are on, it glows red. Because really all of these are the same. If you look at this one, Marianne, the waffle irons are all engineered basically the same way. You've got a heating wire that goes around, like so, and that is what creates the heat that heats up the plate. The plate. I don't want to forget about our waffle. One more minute. I think enough time. Look at some of these pretty round ones. I think these are beautiful. Here we have a Toastmaster. Here is a Sears Kenmore. Beautiful. Again, these round ones just make waffles. Unlike the GE or even the Sunbeam we're cooking on, that work as a waffle iron and as a grill. These don't do nothing but make waffles. That's all they do. These round griddles do not come off. So here's a Toastmaster. They do have a control on it, so you can adjust the temperature depending on lighter or darker, how you like your waffles. So here's one. This one is made by Bursted in Fostoria, Ohio. I love look at the handles, triangular shaped. Here's a Westinghouse that actually has the control right here in the handle. Isn't that nifty? Okay, Mir, we're going to go back down here. Oh, does that look nice? That's how we like it. And look at that. Okay? Nice crunch. Yes. Well, that's what I'm eating. Okay, we'll come back and make more. But let's come back down and take a look at these. So here's the Westinghouse. So these are pretty round ones. Over here, we're going to look at some square ones, kind of like the one we're using. So, whoop. You doing okay, honey?
Yeah.
All right. So here's a Westinghouse. Boy, that thing's seen some use, hasn't it?
Yep.
You know, I want to ask people who have appliances, stoves, small appliances, who never once ever wipe them down or wash them off, why they don't feel they want to do that. You wouldn't believe some of the stuff I've seen over the years. This isn't as bad as some, but I'll tell you, it always amazes me. Anyways, and in spite of that, this thing still works. So this is a Westinghouse, and you see this handle? This handle doubles as a leg because this flips flat so that you can do sandwiches and such. Here are a couple of Sunbeams. These are early ones, and they are a beautiful, these make a nice waffle, these early Sunbeam ones. Here's the same one that I'm using now, Marianne, for our waffles. Sunbeam. Why don't you come back here into the kitchen. Look at this beautiful one. I love some of them have these designs sort of etched in them. This is a Fostoria waffle iron and combination griddle. Here is one by Universal. Now this one I already switched out the plates so that you could see how you could grill hamburgers on here.
It looks like they did do hamburgers on there.
You see the marks?
Yeah.
You could do grilled cheese sandwiches, all kinds of stuff on this. Here's a pretty one, isn't it? This one's got a white, and look how the handle switches like that so that you can use it as a leg when you put it down flat like this. This has got an early non-stick Teflon. I don't know if I'd use it. That early Teflon stuff isn't really good for you, and it can flake off. But so I use it for display. This is a Nesco waffle grill. These two back here are both Manning-Bowman. Now, Manning-Bowman at the time was a very high-class, top-rate, a little appliance maker. And MB, Manning-Bowman, they used to say MB means best. And they sold it at kind of upscale department stores. So you wouldn't buy it like in a dime store. You'd get it at a better department store. But look at this. Here you have, again, this doubles as a griddle. And it has a reversible grid. You have a waffle iron there. So here's one like from the 40s, and then here's one from the 70s. Teflon, also a Manning-Bowman. Okay? And by this time it is a division of McGraw-Edison. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Isn't this one pretty? This one, you can see, I've got one griddle, one of them on the flat side and one of them on the waffle side. This is an AMC, not to be confused with the car company. AMC was a private label department store brand that a lot of department stores sourced. And here in Detroit, AMC were sold at the J.L. Hudson Company. So that's where this one is from. This is a fun one, Mare. It's called the Dainty Maid. Oh, they named it after you. How about that? Dainty Maid Waffle Iron Grill. Again, it's got the non-stick, but I love it's got kind of a lightning bolt kind of etched in here. This one has the fleur-de-lis, this AMC, kind of Frenched up, okay, fancy. And then over here, here's a Kenmore. This one hardly looks used, doesn't it? Looks brand new. Beautiful. Kenmore waffle grill. So this is for high volume waffle making, kind of like we normally do. Okay, last stop on the waffle train. I've got a few fun round ones over here. Now these are early. I don't know if you'll notice, Mare, that these handles are actually made out of wood. They're not made out of plastic. This is called a Maid-Rite. And Mansfield, Ohio, which is where Westinghouse was, and Tappan. But this, the early plastic sometimes was unreliable. It would crack, it would melt, it would warp. So in some cases, they used wooden handles, which were also heat-proof. So here's one with a wooden handle. Look at this. How beautiful is that? Look at those handles. This is a Speedmaster made in Winsted, Connecticut from Sun Chief Electrics Incorporated. Beautiful old waffle iron there. Over here, this is a Coleman waffle maker by the Coleman Lamp and Stove Company. So we're familiar, and look at that. It's still got the instructions right there on how to make the waffles. How cool is that? And then here, this is a fun one. This is another Manning-Bowman. Boy, they'd made a lot of waffle irons. They didn't clean this one real good, did they, honey? Okay. And then, look, waffles for two, you say? Look at this. 2 individual waffle makers, and these have little thermometers that say cold, bake, hot. So it'll tell you when it's in the baking zone. I'm missing the one here. I got to ask our friend Hans if he's got an extra one of those little thermometers that pop in there. Anyways, it's got wooden handles on the side. It almost looks like a tray. A lot of people would make waffles at the table side and serve them right there. And then finally, look at this super deluxe. This is a Manning-Bowman, top of the line. This is a double waffler. Look at that. You put your batter in there, you get it going, you turn it over, you put your batter in there, you get it going. You're making 2 waffles at once. Pretty high class, huh?
Yeah.
Yep. So, these are just some examples of the waffle irons that I have in the collection, and I know a lot of people have been asking for a long time. Boy, it's a lot of chrome, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, anyways, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to keep making waffles, but you know what, Marianne? We're going to get one of these waffles buttered and served up and give it a try, so that we can let our friends know whether or not this recipe for the velvet waffle is a thumbs up or thumbs down. Okay? So we'll be back, and it's time to eat some waffles. Well, honey, it's time. Time for tasting, right?
Right.
So take a look at this. I've got another one on the griddle here, but look at this. How good does that look? So, that is a good waffle. You know, it's those egg whites going in. Wow. I mean, the butter and the syrup doesn't hurt. right?
Right.
But honestly, that is a nice looking waffle, and it's a good tasting waffle. Um, some people like to do chicken and waffles. Some people make ice cream sandwiches with waffles. This one has a nice, all right, I'm going to stop. Nice flavor. It's interesting. There's no sugar in this recipe in the batter.
Yeah.
So, the waffles just have a really nice kind of toasted flavor to them. And, the sweet is something that we're putting on with the syrup. It's a nice balance. I like these waffles. And I like our beautiful Sunbeam. There's another one ready to come out. Oh, now, who wouldn't want that? That is a beauty. We're going to put these over here, and we're going to keep on going. And by the way, what do we do with the leftovers, Mary Ann? Or I should say, what do you do with the leftovers?
I usually freeze them.
That's right. And then how do you rewarm them? Do you toast them or you pop them in the microwave?
I usually toast them.
Yeah. And that's all there is to it. So no worries having a few waffles left over. They will not go to waste. So Mary Ann and I are going to, we've got some bacon and some other fun stuff we're going to have with our waffle dinner. Mary Ann, thank you for working the camera.
You're welcome.
And helping to show not only a great waffle recipe, but a sampling of the waffle iron collection here at the Cavalcade. And we thank our food friends. Let's tell them the website.
Cavalcadeoffood.com.
Right at the bottom of the screen. You can go there and see all kinds of fun stuff. Connect to everything that I do if you're so interested and or inclined. And thanks to my sister for working the camera.
You're welcome.
And having to stand there while I do all the eating. Now it's going to be your turn, honey. We're almost done. And we'll say thanks to our friends for sharing some time with us. And we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon right here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye, everybody.
Bye.